Cyber Bay 2025, the inaugural event here in Tampa Bay. Arnie Bellini spearheading this incredible event, over 1,000 registrants in downtown Tampa, 3 days, absolutely incredible. There was a mix of educators and managed service providers and technical people and vendors, and it was excellently run, really well attended. The content was fantastic. Arnie's keynote was great. And it was just a wonderful event. I was so happy to be part of it. We set up the podcast. We had 4 great interviews there. First was Darnell Taylor, a wonderful instructor, teacher at a STEM high school in a county near Tampa. Great insight from Darnell, I think, her very much. Nia Luckey, really interesting, from battlefield to boardroom, building calm and chaos. I was first introduced to her by her TEDx that she just did. It was a great TEDx that she talked about cybersecurity. Really great conversation with Nia. Daryl Highland, Coins, Code, and Cyber, from visual history to IoT security. Great talking with Daryl. He is a visual historian. He loves history and he gets visual, solid items, but it emerges perfectly. You wouldn't think it would, kind of old meets new, but he spends, his days and nights now with security over the past 20 years. Really great conversation with Daryl. And then lastly, Melissa Dark. Great conversation with Melissa. She's trying to help get teachers educated on cyber so they can teach how education fuels security. Great conversation with Melissa as well. It's a great event, wonderful event. I'm so glad to be a part of it. I can't wait till next year. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because I was working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Yeah. Thanks for coming today. It's so great to meet you.
Likewise.
So what's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh, Italian food.
Explain.
So I love the build. Right? So you have all the ingredients, you've gone to the store, you know what to do, but it's a slow process.
It is.
And it's like a labor of love.
Yeah.
And then the more patient you are with what you're cooking, I think everybody enjoys it just a little bit more.
Yeah. Do you get to do that in your professional career, be able to kind of slowly bring things up like that?
I'm learning.
I see.
So coming out of the military, it was very like point, shoot, fast.
Right.
Lives mattered, right?
Yes.
So now that I'm in like the private sector side of my career, it is more of that build, bring the ingredients to the table. Let's discuss the ingredients. Let's figure out how we get to that end result together. And that is a little bit more fruitful.
And it seems that it kind of comes along with maturity as well.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
How long have you been hiking?
Oh, that's like 5 years.
Really?
Easily.
And what's the thrill there?
Just feeling this big.
Interesting. Because of the universe.
So vast.
Big, right.
So if you ever really want a humbling experience.
It's humbling, isn't it?
Find a peak and then just look. And the expansiveness of it, it actually helps almost humble our problems. And you can gain perspective because it's quiet. And you can be still. Gather your thoughts. Let that panic, that anxiety, that external force just dissipate. And that's what it's really about for me.
Yeah, there is. And plus, you're off the grid, right? So you can't be bothered by anything like that. And it is very humbling, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And then find somebody to share it with.
That's even better.
The deep part, right? Find somebody. Doesn't have to be a partner or your children in my case, but find somebody to enjoy that experience with. And water does the same thing.
Water.
Right. So it's just this vast expanse, right? Because our days are so busy and they're in condensed spaces with a lot of activity around them. So I like to seek out stillness and then just how nature kind of moves. Yeah. And then bring that back with me.
And then bring it back. I like humbling. I like the idea that nature can humble.
It really can.
Because sometimes we get caught up in what we're doing and who we are, and then I play golf a lot, and that brings me to my knees a lot. It's very humbling. You know what I mean?
Really,
I think I'm a big tough guy, and then all of a sudden I'm shooting terribly. But yeah, we need that. We need to kind of keep ourselves in check.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I enjoyed your TEDx.
Thank you.
So tell me the process and what it took. I'm really fascinated with this.
So I was a little lost last year in terms of what I wanted to do career-wise. So I found a coach, a talking coach, and she also specializes in people that want to publish. And I shared just unfettered, raw, just taxed out, maybe a little burnout happening.
Wow.
And we worked together for 6 months. And she's like, okay, what do you want to do? Because in talking to you, getting to know you, I see 2 visions. She's like, I can see you on a TEDx stage. She's like, I could also see you writing a book. But you seem a little overwhelmed to like sit down and actually like pour your heart into a book. So we started with TEDx. That kicked off another 6-month ramp of prep. And true story, on the first submission, I actually didn't get selected.
Wow.
And we had a pivot, and that pivot landed me on the red dot.
And the experience of getting up there in front of people on the red dot?
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It still is, even if you are in public speaking, because it's sharing the message with non-technical audiences, right? So I'm so used to being surrounded by people that just get it, and I don't have to translate it too much. So whether it was in the government work or just in tech in general, we all have a common language. That common language doesn't often translate beyond our little niche circles. So that was a joyful experience to make something that I'm very passionate about hyper relatable to everyone that was listening. And we've hit, I think, right around 1,500 views.
Wow.
So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, well, was it Einstein that said if you can't explain it to a 12-year-old, you don't know it, or something like that?
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a dumbing down of concepts either. It's just a common language that everybody can understand because it's that important.
Right.
And TED is all about innovative ideas. So if you can't make it make sense in 8 minutes, what are we doing?
That's right. How was rehearsal?
That was fun. That was a fun, creative process. So they brought in an acting coach that could get us to like warm up our voices and relax like our facial muscles. So a lot of things I'm not used to doing, but we were doing it together. So even if it felt weird or I don't know, it worked. But it was a joyful experience, and the ramp up for the 6 months was together. So people who could show up, we did. But yeah, every single event was something to get us to think creatively outside of the box, let those juices kind of flow, to take away from the rigidity of some of our backgrounds, especially for those that, speak either at institutions or lecture or anything of that nature, to kind of bring more personality to it. Yeah.
And where was it?
So it was TEDx Sugar Creek, so Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte. I think I told you I just did my first one last week.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was at Bates College in Maine, yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it was something. It was really something. The rehearsal didn't go well for me, though.
So
it made me more nervous.
But what they say is if the dress rehearsal goes bad, game day, you're going to shine.
That's what I did hear that. But you couldn't convince me of that before going up there. I tell you what, I think it went well, but it's just, I was just trying to think of too many details. A student actually came up to me, this was at university, and said, just tell your story. And it just calmed me down. Yeah, it just calmed me down. But it's something, that stage. It's something.
It really is. And our coaches kind of echoed the same thing, though. You're having a conversation.
Right.
So have a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. If you get stuck in the memorization of it line by line, you can get caught up. And then your personality maybe not shine through as much authentically, which is a big part of my TED Talk.
It sure was. Yeah.
It really needed to break through that. But I'm with you. rehearsal did not go well.
Yeah, I can't remember last time I felt nauseous. I tell you, it was something. It was something. So we're here at the big Cyber Bay event here in downtown Tampa. What are some of your goals this week, Nia?
I want to learn, immerse and learn. So already learning things from the amazing keynote behind us. I think cybersecurity is at the forefront of everyone's mind with the emergence of AI and quantum right behind that, and what that accelerator is going to look like, and build my network, right? And so that's what this year has really been about, is expanding outside of North Carolina and really starting to, exude that thought leadership in other spaces. So last year I had the privilege of speaking in San Diego and LA, and now this year it's been Louisville and Cyber Bay and Tampa. So I'm over the moon that I was accepted, and I'm just really excited to see what the professionals here are like. And like I said, just build that network base and see what Cyber Bay has to offer to everyone. Yeah.
So you were in the Army.
Correct.
And now you're working in the private sector with the U.S. Air Force.
No.
With the, did I have the right SSOC?
So.
Okay.
We'll take a few steps back.
Yes.
But yes, 13 years active duty Army.
Wow.
Then I worked with the Air Force.
I say.
Then I worked with the Joint Special Operations Command.
Ah.
Then I worked for
JSOC.
Cisco.
I say.
And I stood up
Cisco.
the SOC over at Cisco Public Sector.
I see.
Then I did consulting for a little bit during COVID, because it was difficult to navigate.
Yes.
And I've officially landed at AT&T this year. So I'm over the moon at my career trajectory since, especially when, you don't get a lot of those stories, those success stories that just continue to build. And I really wanted to just be a living example of that. So it's been quite the journey.
Tell me about your experience in the Army. By the way, thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
So what is it? Is it for everyone? Did it change you? Why did you go in?
I'm going to tell you right now, there were a lot of people in my family that were like, there's no way. Basic training is going to break this girly down.
Wow.
She's going to come home.
Wow.
She's going to go to law school like she's supposed to.
Wow.
But we're going to let her do her thing. And it was great. It was a great 13-year journey. I met my partner while I was in. He did 8 years right beside me. We deployed twice together.
Wow.
It is not for everyone,
Right.
Joey. It's not. And then towards the end, when we were surprised with our daughter, it was time. It was time for me to expand my wings somewhere else, right? Needs of the family kind of tipped the scales. We were a little outnumbered, but all in all, I don't regret a second of my service. Neither does he. And we like to do nonprofit work, and especially within the veteran communities, because we want to hear more success stories. We want to, especially in tech, right? So I do a lot of work with the Charlotte Metro ISSA currently. I was a founding member of
ISSA.
International Systems Security Association. It's an international 501c3. I founded the ISSA of Fayetteville and Fort Bragg out of North Carolina. And then once I transitioned out and we moved to Charlotte, I became involved in that community.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then working with the Air Force.
Yeah, that was an experience, just a little bit different. And if I could have done my military service differently, I might have joined
Interesting.
the Air Force first.
Why?
But, they encourage education, like formal college education, a little bit more. I don't know what the word is.
Openly?
Transparently.
Oh,
Yeah.
transparently.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like it's an option, and they encourage it. Whereas with the Army, it's more of if you have time, or at least
Interesting.
at the time. I can't speak for
Right
now.
now,
I've been
yeah.
out for about a decade, but that's the cultural difference. I always kind of low-key joke that the Air Force is like the corporate version of our military service. So they put a polish to it, and there's an education factor to it that I always respected, and I carry forward in all of the roles that I've had since. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is the state now of cybersecurity, Nia? What are we looking at now?
Just a consistent state of flux. So
Yeah.
this is where, and it made me grin ear to ear when I heard this when I was in San Diego. But Gary Hayslip, he quoted Simon Sinek, Because Simon Sinek, when I was commuting to Cisco every single day, so 1 hour, 15 minutes one way, I would listen to Simon Sinek's podcast.
Why?
The Infinite Game. Because that's exactly what cybersecurity is. It's not a checklist. It's not a finite ones and zeros strategy that can just get us to the end. It's highly collaborative. You need critical thinking. You need builders, but you also need tuners, right? It's not, it's not as simple as target practice because the target's always moving. It's evolving. So you really need to kind of be in this space where you're always curious to learn more, and you really want to surround yourself with the smartest people in the room, and understanding you're probably not.
Yeah.
But that's cybersecurity right now because it's evolving at such a quick pace. And with AI and quantum like right behind us, we need to get creative and we need to work together. That's what I loved about Cisco was it was this whole concept of check your ego at the door and, just roll up your sleeves and get ready to work every single day. And it's okay to take a knee if you need some time, but it needs you sharp. It needs you locked in, and it needs you understanding kind of your role and what you're trying to do and what the business organization is trying to achieve, right? Which is a lot bigger than what Nia wants to do or what, an individual wants to do because it makes your impact so much larger.
Is AI helping or hurting cybersecurity?
Yes. Both. There's still a lot of distrust. And I always like to break it down like this. I don't really think we've hit, at least not in the spaces I'm in, artificial intelligence, like by definition. We're still playing with large language models,
Yes.
which can either complicate what you're trying to do or simplify what you're trying to do. But they're tools, first and foremost. That's what they are. But when, companies are relying on those to charge businesses lots of money, and the output is strictly a non-fact check output of AI, we're not really doing ourselves any favors because it's breaking that trust. And it's going to take trust, which is a lot of what my TED Talk was about, to get where we need to go. Yeah. Now, as a practitioner, I leverage several AI models every day to think sharply, stay on my feet. So everything from slide graphics to just deep R&D, like research and development of idea, like here's my idea, help me like nurture that, build that out. Yes, but you also have to take a step back and say, okay, that was the tool. Now I need to put Nia or whoever into what I'm building, because if not, it's just an AI output, right? But there is a lot of hesitancy. There is a lot of people, at least in the circles that I'm in, that they'd rather rely on their own critical thinking skills. I think the one benefit is you can expedite what your brain is able to do if you use the tools the right way.
You love it because it's constantly changing, and you hate it because it's constantly changing?
Yeah, no, it's quite a conundrum, isn't it? Yeah.
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 I mean, that's where we are now.
That is. I would say that's the state of cybersecurity and AI for sure in 2025. And maybe for the foreseeable future for a little bit. Yeah.
And with quantum, I don't know, at second base now, I don't know where we want to put it, but I mean, it's impossible to forecast, but that's going to be, encryption's going to change. There's so many things that's going to change.
Everything's going to change.
Yeah.
So I think if we could start where we are and understand current state really well, it'll help us forecast where we're trying to go with, being mindful of not being overly reliant on tools, whether it's AI or not. Stay sharp, have the conversations, right? Talk it through. Is it premature to launch a bot to expedite, triage of an issue or, some type of cybersecurity threat? Possibly. Depends on your organization, right? Because quantum is just going to be that accelerator that if we thought AI is disruptive, I don't know. Quantum's what has me nervous.
Even more.
Yeah.
Has you nervous? This is an interesting conversation when I have with people. When I talk to people about AI, a lot of times they're scared, and or they're concerned, or they're frightened. my attitude, and perhaps tell me what you think, is that, well, it's already here, so we don't have a choice, but, learn how to use it.
I do agree with that rationale, and I'm concerned because I work in risk. So that's my whole life, is working in risk for large organizations. And so, yes, you're always going to be cautious with the emergence of technology and how fast it's coming. But also, there is a little bit of just disconnect with the general populace and understanding that, yeah, we are rounding second base. Right?
It's coming.
Some people actually believe that true AI is here, which is interesting. And I'm like, okay, I could see that. I've yet to experience it. But it's not to say that across the globe, right, it hasn't formalized, but it's here. So what we do matters, right? And so I'm just a very risk-based approach type of person, even in my personal life. You can't ever quantify it all the way down. But if you can get it to a point where you can use it as a tool and you can help businesses kind of secure infrastructure and just their overall enterprise to adopt, that's really kind of the point we're at.
It really is. Nia, has there been anything in the last month or so that you changed your mind on?
In regards to?
Anything?
Just anything. Not really.
Really? Do you typically change your mind on things?
I think it takes me a long time to make up my mind.
Interesting.
But once I'm locked in for a good 1 to 3 year run.
Really?
Yeah.
How about giving new evidence? How about,
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It'll take a couple of external, points to really sway or just change the approach, right? It may not change the target, but how we get there, how we build, how we navigate, sure. That's always open to negotiation, especially if there's a better perspective or way to look at it, so we can either accelerate it or do it better. Absolutely. You have to be flexible and agile. Rigidity, I think, is short-sighted, especially in today's landscape. Right? You could hold the line, but there's executives that are, right, that's kind of their domain to hold the line on. That way we can remain agile, adaptable, flexible to the needs of what the business has going on, or what, our communities, or even in personal life, right? Could write a whole separate book on that. But rigidity tends to hinder progress. So I try and remain agile and adaptive.
What motivates you, Nia?
Outside of my 3 children?
Everything. Anything.
Make the world a better place,
Yeah.
Joey. Yeah.
Impact?
Impact external to self. Always. Always, always.
3 children. God bless you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So given that motivation, how do you measure success?
Now that can change. And I think it does. So what I love doing is developing just 1, 3, 5-year plans. And then we assess. Quarterly is a little aggressive sometimes, but twice a year, we'll do a little sanity check on how we're doing and where we want to go. If anything's drastically changed, what we have to pivot on. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of more evolving.
Yeah, hard to kind of pin it down,
Yeah.
right? Because you have to constantly self-assess.
Correct. If you would have asked me 10 years ago if I'd be sitting here today,
Right.
I would have been like, you're insane.
Right.
Cannot do public speaking. I don't have an idea that's worth listening to. There's people that they're literally paid to do this. And here I am I've got, an amazing son who just moved into his own apartment, graduated college. I've got my 13-year-old and my 9-year-old with me at Cyber Bay today.
Wow.
It's just really transformed when you kind of just submit to the idea that you've got this and you have a message that's worth sharing. And people really genuinely want to listen because we're all trying to figure it out. And so if you kind of buy in and silence yourself, it's not just a disservice to yourself and your success or how we define success, but it could be a disservice to, your smaller communities and even your communities at scale. Yeah.
So I started my tech company back in the 90s, Nia, and I was working way too hard, 14, 16-hour days, and dropped, exercise and pushing meals out. And I'm in front of the doctor. She tells me I'm at 340 pounds. So I had gained all this terrible weight.
My goodness.
I didn't realize I was that big. She tells me, though, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. My daughter was just born. Scared the life out of me, right?
Sure.
I'm driving home. I don't feel motivated. I feel ashamed. I'm punching the steering wheel. This is my pie hole. I did this. So I spent the next 6-7 months, lost about 130 pounds, and kept it off. So you can't look at these things like a finishing line, right? These are lifelong changes. So when I tell the story, people ask me, like, what's your secret? What'd you do? And I say there's no secret. Discipline. I have focus, willpower, motivation. How does discipline play a role in your life?
Discipline and consistency is right behind discipline. So
Those are synonymous, you think?
I do think, and that's coming out of the military, it takes 30 days to build a habit. So if you have a bad habit, right, the idea is you spend 4 weeks really dedicating and developing that core discipline. You turn that discipline into consistency, and you get to change faster. That's the idea. And I've used it several times, kind of on a little bit of a revival when it comes to personal health right now myself. Just getting a little bit older, it takes a little bit more effort. But you need to be able to put that time and effort into yourself first and foremost, especially when you have children, because they're learning from us. So they need to understand that sometimes we have to make it's choose your hard. We have to make the hard choice, right? It could be difficult to carry around that weight. That is hard, right? But it's also equally hard to get up every day and move that body and walk 3 to 4 miles, 4 to 5 miles, and start seeing that change over time. So choose your hard.
Certainly is. Nia, I thank you so much for your time. I know we communicated weeks ago after I saw your TEDx, and I'm glad we did. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
So LinkedIn is probably my most active platform. Take a look, send a connect.
And your handle is just Nia?
It's Nia.Luckey.
Luckey, yeah. And Luckey's Luckey.
That is correct. There is a fancy E in
There's
there.
an E.
And thank my husband for that. But that is my most active. And I'm on YouTube. The TED Talk's on YouTube.
That's right.
But if you go to my LinkedIn first, there is a link tree. It's right there,
show it
pinned for everyone. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Nia. I really appreciate it.
Jude.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with 1 or 2 of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.